Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the Mick Revolution, as things are sure to get more interesting from here, to say the least. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org, and in this video, we will be discussing the absolute absurd, disingenuous, mass psychosis groupthink pushed on everyone, as of course, there are people in the shadows waiting to take advantage of other people's legitimate suffering that is happening right now. There's a lot to talk about, especially where things will go from here, which we're going to be concentrating on. Before we do that, plus a lot more, one way that we're able to do this every day for free for you is with your support. One really incredible way that you could support us while at the same time also supporting yourself is by downloading a privacy-focused, crypto-backed browser that you just simply install and use. It saves you a lot of time, it gives you an extra layer of security, and if you download and use this browser for over 30 days from our link, this organization and you are rewarded with cryptocurrency tokens. And honestly, this has been one of the main ways that we've been supported as of recently, since of course these are very hard economic times and there are a lot less donations. So yeah, check out the Brave browser. I really like using it, and I think you would too. Check out the link down below. And now just jumping right into it, well, this morning we got yet another montage of self-loathing, grandizing celebritards who can't stand that they're not getting attention during all of this, that made another compilation video talking about just more empty platitudes, generalizations that amount to absolutely nothing, leaving many people asking, what the hell is wrong with these people? And you could see the confusion and delusion and just outright fear in their faces as they desperately try to communicate that they, quote, get it. And isn't it just crazy? Whenever there's a big agenda, they of course roll out the celebritards who of course are just professional people that read scripts that they're told to read. The whole career is about faking who they are. How convenient that every time there's a big agenda, we have these celebritards who, by the way, just a few weeks ago, were telling you that we're all in this together, that you should stay home to save grandma, that are now telling you to go out there into the streets and to protest for an idea that they can't even clearly articulate themselves. Again, very cringe-worthy video of just elites lecturing us, reading off a teleprompter telling us to go along with their agenda. So yeah, that wasn't a nice way to wake up this morning. Very, very perplexing, confusing times that we're living in, especially now when we have very powerful elitist institutions along with pretty much all the multinational mega corporations saying that they are a part of the, quote, revolution. And when you have this Mick revolution, as stated by some, you should have a lot of serious questions. And I think there's a George Orwell quote that is very fitting that reads, quote, every record has been destroyed or falsified, every book rewritten, every picture has been repainted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right. Now, of course, it would be hyperbolic to say that we're living in 1984 right now, but there are some interesting parallels to quantify and think about here, especially when big government intelligence agency connected institutions like Alphabet are bending over backwards to appease this, quote, revolution, while, of course, if anyone even deviates slightly, just slightly, of their ever-changing demands or wants, well, they're going to have to do the public walk of shame. This, of course, has happened to the mayor of Minneapolis that was literally doing a Game of Thrones style shame walk after he refused to totally eliminate the police department. And these rules that you're supposed to follow not to be shamed are very perplexing and confusing, as of course you can't discriminate against anyone or group or show favoritism to another group as you're also supposed to show favoritism by the institution to a particular group. Yeah, if you're confused, you should be, because what's going on now makes absolutely no sense at all, with, of course, the mob getting many scalps, including this UCLA professor that has been suspended from working for 3 weeks. He has had death threats against him and his family. He has to have police watching his house. There was a petition with over 20,000 people signing it, asking this professor to be removed. Why? Well, because he refused to be lenient on grades for black students. Yes, a group of, this is very important here, non-black students. So emailed this professor asking them, patronizing should be the key word here, but they were patronizingly asking him for leniency in markings for black students because of the trauma that they received after the death of George Floyd. And now this professor had the audacity to respond by saying, hey guys, I have no idea who's black because the whole course that we're doing is online. And because of that, and responding to them, legitimately asking them, how should he rate the tests of half black students, Asian students, students from Minneapolis, leaving off, of course, his email with a quote from Martin Luther King saying that people should not be evaluated based on their skin color. And what? The white students responded with, of course, their empty platitudes that violence is silent, that inaction during these times is an act against them. Again, this was mostly white students that did this, which again pushes this mob mentality of guilt and self-loathing that is akin to moral blackmail, because when they say silence is violence, they're not encouraging an honest, real conversation or dialogue. They're telling you, you are supposed to support us, and if you don't, you are the enemy. And that line of thinking, that kind of George W. Bush, you're either with us or you're with the terrorist line of thinking, is a draconian totalitarian way of thinking that should be pushed back intellectually as much as possible. But sadly, there's people even afraid to even talk about this. And I refuse to live in such an absurd world where people are guilted over something that they have absolutely no control of. It's insane and racist in itself, and unless some of these fringe elements get called out, this mass hysteria, this mass firing, which, by the way, was covered very well in this article, that documented all the people that are having death threats put out against them, that are being fired, that are having their lives ruined, not because of any kind of racist or hateful remark, but because of a misunderstanding. People who try to show support of this movement, who try to intellectually have a conversation, that are chewed out and spit out by the mob, while of course everyone else cheers on for it, with the support of all the biggest corporations and elitist institutions that control the free flow of information, that they're very happy to restrict at any moment in time when it goes out against the mob. All of this, as of course a main Democratic think tank group is the one collecting all of the donations for Black Lives Matter's official website, as of course they are looking to enrich themselves from this supposed revolution that's happening right now. And truly, what the amount of money being donated, being given by cities and governments and corporations is really something substantial that really should be considered here, especially when you find out exactly where it's going to. Will there be anything good coming out of this revolution? Well, I highly doubt it, when of course Democrats are doing their best to try to benefit from it as much as they can, as of course they pander around wearing African scarves from the African Empire, the Ashanti Empire, that was the major procurer, exporter, and seller of enslaved people. Yes, that kente cloth represents an empire that was enriched by selling slaves. And as long as these kind of people are at the helm, are trying to navigate, are trying to steer this movement for their benefit, there won't be any legitimate actual issues addressed. And there's a lot of legitimate issues that need to be addressed, whether it's civil asset forfeiture, which, by the way, Democrats in Arizona just voted against. It's essentially where police officers are able to steal money from you, looting, real looting that's happening, has happened, and will continue to happen in places like Arizona because of the Democrats. Issues like no-knock warrants, the surveillance states, the loss of our civil liberties and freedoms, and of course also the war on drugs that, if ended, would also, quote, defund the police. Now, wherever you stand on that, it doesn't matter. The war on drugs is pointless, it's stupid, and it hurts more people than it actually helps. Will that issue be addressed? Will we finally put a stop to the suffering created by the system? No. Not when the system is engineering and pushing for this, quote, revolution. There is an issue with policing that does need to be addressed, and it won't be addressed by this revolution. There are issues with real suffering, real injustices, real discrimination, hatred in this world, which was directly created by the government. Will they be held accountable for these egregious actions? No. And this is one reason why I think the situation will get worse from here. Another reason is there's massive unemployment, huge economic ramifications coming our way that will have a devastating effect on all of us. And when you have more poverty, you have more criminality. And that is going to expand on a massive level, especially in major cities, which, of course, there's a huge flight out of by any person that is making any kind of money because of the egregious taxes and regulations that are being pushed on them. Anyone that's funding this ridiculous, crazy, nanny state in major cities is out of there because of recent events, because of this, quote, sickness, because of these riots. With that and the loss of major significant tax dollars in these cities, the government still mandating many businesses to be closed for your, quote, safety, for your, quote, health, which, by the way, is still happening on a massive level here in New York City. You still can't open up your business, as of course the mayor is coming out supporting and cheering on these demonstrators, going to them, going to their rallies. Open up a business? No. You'll have the NYPD on you like white on rice, giving you a ticket and even throwing you in jail for trying to do the horrible crime of operating a business here right now. And with the government not being able to print endless money, New York City, LA, and other major districts being cash-strapped, the economic suffering coming our way will be major and will create more civil unrest. Schools are still closed down. Maybe they will open, maybe they won't in some jurisdictions, maybe in some limited levels, but with kids not in schools, parents not able to work, stuck together for months inside of the house, well, that's another condition that will lead even to more civil unrest. The mainstream media harping about Trump because of Russia somehow, while not actually countering any of the real serious moves that he has made, especially against the Second Amendment, as of course they're also telling you this horrible Donald Trump dictator should also have the right to take away guns from its civilians. Yes, they're actually advocating for those things and saying them under the same breath sometimes. With that mass hypnosis, with that groupthink, yes, you're going to have people actually believe it, especially if it's being repeated enough. You take away any of the release valves like sports, which, by the way, is directly tied to aggression and anger. This is why when a home sports team loses, there usually is a correlation with the uptick of domestic violence when you get rid of sports, which looks like it won't be coming back anytime soon, as well as an election year, which, by the way, around 30% of both Democrats and Republicans believed will be rigged, as of course there's a crisis of confidence in the U.S. elections. No matter who wins, there will be a very angry group because of it, and when you have all those combining factors coming in, you have a perfect storm of massive civil unrest that will be continuing, that will be expanding, that will be growing, that will get out of hand, as of course mob violence is becoming the new normal now. Listen, it's not a pretty picture, but that's the one that I'm seeing. I think it's important to really consider a lot of your life's choices, where you live, how prepared you are, the safety procedures and protocols that you have inside of your life, because this is somewhat of a serious situation that you should be taking seriously. I hope I am wrong. I hope there's a de-escalation. I hope there's a rational dialogue and conversation that we could have as a country, but so far, I'm not seeing it at all. For my assessment, things will slow down a little bit during the summer, but of course, kick up especially significantly during the fall. But no matter what happens, I'll still be here for you, breaking it down, because without you, I wouldn't be here. Without you sharing, no one would see these videos. And because of that, love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.